Now, here comes the big question: what is calculation?
So recently I had the privilege to interview Mr. Jacob Aagaard, the greatest, in my opinion, chess coach today, on the most important topic that concerns every improving chess player, which is calculation and the ability to navigate complex positions well. We talked about many things, but today I will let Mr. Aagaard explain how to calculate properly. Your ability to calculate is split into two parts. Number one, being able to recognize patterns sufficiently, and number two, being able to actually calculate correctly. Do you share that standpoint?
So the way we understand how the brain works comes from the Kahneman work on psychology, where he calls it System 1 and System 2, which is how scientists call things, while we as chess players would call it calculation or concentration and intuition.
Okay.
Now, intuition can be split into various forms. There's a visual, there's a sequential, there's an abstract intuition, but basically all of intuition is pattern recognition. It is how your brain makes this into a triangle, even though there's a part that's missing. That's the intuition part. It's the patterns. And the more you know about something, the more patterns you can apply.
Yeah.
So yes, that knowing a lot of patterns, especially if you are an up-and-coming player, if you're early in your journey in chess, it doesn't matter if you're 50 or if you're 5. Getting to know a lot of patterns, visual patterns, and having a lot of repetition with them is very, very valuable. Whether you want to do like the woodpecker method, which is you take 1,000 patterns and then you go over them a number of times, or you're going over calculation a number of times to reestablish some patterns, or if you want to instead of 1,000 solving them 5 times and solve 5,000 puzzles, and then going over seeing the patterns reoccur, but in new positions. And I know Tikkanen, which is Finnish for woodpecker, Hans Tikkanen, who is a psychologist, he sort of was very adamant, no, that going over the same positions would really work. And I'm sure it really works, but I also know that going over new positions really works. So which one is best? I don't know. Whatever fits best to your personality would be my recommendation for that. But it's definitely very important, especially early on in your journey. And early on in your journey includes you, Stepan, because you still have not reached 2,300, 2,400. You know,
yeah.
You're still early in your journey. So solving a lot of simple tactics is very, very useful. You can get a lot online, but generally there's some problems with them online that you're not forced to see everything to the end because it sort of replies. You play the obvious move,
yeah,
and you're not forced to calculate the whole line. So it's more like playing. While actually what you want to train is ability to see things to the end. And then also often with these computer-generated things, then after you play a move, the difficult move from a human perspective to solve is not what you get back. You get back, here, take my queen.
Yeah. That is a big problem.
And it's actually it's bad. And if you take, like, let's say woodpecker, you can buy it every which way. You can buy it in book, you can buy it in video, you can buy it Chessable, Chess Tempo, Forward Chess, or all kinds of places, and many other books, and also books from competing companies which are very good. You know, the solutions will be good quality.
Yeah.
And when you said earlier with the calculation, you spend a month going through it.
Yep.
That's €1 a day.
€1 a day?
The book costs €30. Hardback.
Yeah.
It's €1 a day
yeah.
for working with this. You're probably spending an hour or 2 hours a day. It's at most it's €1 an hour, and then you're going through it really fast, I have to say. It's just for anybody to value their time at €1 an hour, or
Yeah.
Let's say the quality of material which is free online, which you don't have to pay anyone, is generally bad. It's generally bad. So I would always recommend buy something. Don't necessarily buy anything from us. If you sort of accept the argument but don't like me, then go and buy from Chessable or buy from Thinkers or Russell. So there's a lot of good material out there that's curated. It's just don't do a false economy on your time. This is for anyone who wants to progress. The other thing is with solving simple tactics, even though you want to have sort of a concentration to it, don't fall into the trap of actually calculating very, very deeply.
Okay.
Or sitting thinking for a long time. Because you have to understand always the purpose of what you're doing. So with simple tactics, you're learning patterns.
Okay.
So if you think for half an hour in every exercise, you're not getting a lot of input with patterns. You have to have this open, engaged involvement with them, but it should be like 1-2 minutes.
Okay.
This looks right. You go for it, go for it, go for it. You're just learning patterns. So you want to be involved, you want to be thinking, you want to be alert and concentrated, but you also just want to keep going. And which is for many people, most people who want to be a little bit better at chess, is great news because they can do it on their phone on the way to work, in the bus, on the train, whatever. Just 10 minutes, and it does work. It does help. So yes, so that's that. But on the other side of the fence, where we go away from the intuition thing, when you go into the concentration thing here, and let's say we have a decent intuition, decent tactical intuition, let's say me, but 20 years younger, back when I was a decent player. If you have that, then what is the other thing you need? You need to be able to calculate. And now, here comes the big question, what is calculation?
Okay. What do you mean you didn't ask yourself?
It's quite a good question, right?
How could you have written a book called Calculation without answering that question?
I just did what everyone else was doing.
Okay.
I learned a lot of things since. I wrote it close to 15 years ago. So
what's your answer now?
A different person. All cells in my body have been replaced 3 times since.
Yeah.
Yes, so the answer to what is calculation, which is answered in thinking inside the box. It is seeing what you don't, is finding the things that you don't automatically see.
Okay. That makes sense.
The point is, when you look at a position, there are things, patterns, that you sort of see naturally. And then there are things that doesn't come to you for free. So normally I talk about the chessboard presenting itself as a magic mirror. You look at it and wow, you're a genius. You see all these things quickly, instantly. Oh my God. But reality is that the things you don't see might be more important. It could, for example, be, and this is very common to players earlier in the first 5-10 years of their chess playing, is the opponent's opportunities.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with.
Or, let's say, forced lines, but then intermediate moves. Or the opponent doesn't recapture, or doesn't take the piece that's hanging. Anything that's sort of a little bit different flow than what you would think is the natural flow. Often players who are more early in the journey, they can miss these moves. And there you have to understand how the brain works, and that's actually quite a grinding process to learn to calculate really well.